Welcome to the Alaska Statewide Food Day Planning Webinar. We're so excited to have you all here today talking with us. And hopefully we can learn a little bit more about Food Day in Alaska in the past and share some resources and information to help you guys plan for this fall. After the webinar, we're going to be sending out all these slides with a recording of the webinar, so that way if anyone wasn't able to come or you talked to somebody who wanted to be involved, feel free to send them the slides, send them the recording so they can catch up and share our contact information so that we can help answer any questions that come up. All right, just a little bit about GoToWebinar before we start. If you guys have any questions as I'm talking, as any of our presenters are talking, you can type them into a question box, or if you want, you can raise your hand at the end. We'll have a discussion and question section. So if you use the raise your hand button, we'll give you a question. We can call on you, unmute your microphone, and then you can ask your question to the group. And after the webinar, as I said, we'll be sending out all the slides and our contact information along with the recording. You guys will be able to get all this information. First, I want to welcome you all for being here and introduce myself. I know I've talked to many of you through email and over the phone. My name is Emma Peterson, and I've been a Food Day summer intern. I'm here with Emily Karras, my colleague, who is one of our project coordinators, and she's working in Alaska as well. My summer internship is actually ending tomorrow, so after that, Emily's going to be the one that you'll be contacting with all your questions as we start planning for Food Day. And she's been working with me closely over the last couple weeks, so she's caught right up to speed. And if you have any further questions, she'll be the one to reach out to. So we have three presenters today. Azara Mohammadi and Ali Elder are working with the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and they've been putting on Food Day events for the last couple of years. And then we're going to hear from Sienna Venucci, who is an RD and has been working in hospitals doing presentations and classes for adults and children. And then finally, we'll end with some questions and discussion, and that'll wrap it up. All right, and as mentioned, this is Emily's contact information, her email, phone number. So if you have any questions about any of our resources, anything you're looking for, or people you want to connect with, she'll be the one to contact. We also have all of our Food Day social media handles and platforms up here. So we are on Twitter, Facebook, and we have our website, which I know a lot of you guys have seen. But if you're tweeting, we're putting up Facebook posts about your Food Day events or anything going on. We have our hashtag Food Day 2014, which we use on both Twitter and Facebook. You can connect with us on those pages. A little bit of an overview about the history of Food Day. So Food Day happens every year on October 24th, and we want it to be a platform for you guys to push forward your goals and things that you want to see improve and change in the food system, as well as celebrating what's already being done to improve where we get our food from and the health of the food that we eat. So, and talking a little bit about Food Day from last year we had over 4,700 events, which was twice as many as our first year when we started in 2011. So this is the fourth year of Food Day. We work with Jack Johnson, who supports Food Day on his tours. We recently had the opportunity to table at a couple of his concerts nearby and tell people a little bit more about Food Day and get the word out. He's also right now matching donations that are made to Food Day, so I'll plug in. If anybody donates to Food Day from now until September 1st, his charity is matching donations to help us out. He's been a big supporter of Food Day. Last year, New York held a Big Apple Crunch, where they had over 1 million people crunch into an apple, a New York apple, at the same time on Food Day, and that was how they celebrated. So they're doing the same event this year, and this event has been replicated in other places around the country. Louisiana did a Satsuma peel, which is one of their local foods. In Florida, did oranges, going into oranges to celebrate Food Day. We have a food literacy quiz on our website, and last year over 20,000 people took the quiz. It's still up there on our website if you're interested. We can send you the link if you can't find it if you wanted to share that with anyone that you're working with or use it for Food Day. And Food Day would not be possible without all of the volunteers in all 50 states that we work with that help organize these events. And so we're happy that we can be here to support you as you organize your event. Thank you. This year, we have 2 focus areas for Food Day. The first is the same as last year, food education and food literacy. We focused last year, and we've added this year food access and food justice for food and farm workers. And so we've been working with organizations to really promote that as another focus area of Food Day this year. These are some pictures from events that happened for Food Day in 2013, or 2013. And as I mentioned, we are focusing on education, food, nutrition, and food education in schools. So here's some pictures of some kids at schools all over the country who were celebrating Food Day last year. All right, as I mentioned, we have lots of resources on our Food Day website. If you're looking for posters, you want to use your logo on any of your flyers, your own posters, and materials that you create, you're welcome to use that for free. We have film screening guides, book guides, suggested speakers that you can reach out to as you start planning for your event. We have cookbooks, recipe cards, lots of years. So there's lots of things out there on our website if you're looking for some information. We just put out some new fact sheets about food justice for food and farm workers. So you can check those out. And if you're looking for anything else that you think might help you organize your Food Day event, definitely reach out to our to Food Day in our office because we'd be happy to help point out some things that might be helpful. Now to focus on Food Day in Alaska. Last year we had 18 events that were registered on the website for Food Day, and this year we're trying to reach 25. So we're trying to kind of grow the event each year. We will be putting out an Alaska statewide Food Day press release a little closer to Food Day. And so that'll be going out to hopefully get the word out about events happening all over Alaska and help media and others find events in their area. We definitely want to recommend that everyone post their events on our national map. You can put up the date, time, and location of your event. And that way if people are looking for something going on in their area, they can look up their zip code and find your event going on nearby. We also have a national blog on the Food Day website, and we're constantly taking guest posts from groups, organizations, individuals working in the food movement. And we'd love to hear about your organization. If you have some exciting programming going on or an event coming up that you'd like us to help promote, we're more than happy to use our blog and our social media platforms to help get the word out about the work that you're doing. So definitely reach out by email, by phone, if that's something that you'd be interested in. All right, here's a couple of events for things that are going on. Last year, this is a poster for a sustainable seafood throwdown that happened with the local food bank. There were a lot of different partners, Alaska Food Policy Coalition, Alaska Grown, you can see down there. This is an example of something you could do. We have lots of examples of posters and flyers like these that other people have given us and have offered to share with Food Day organizers. And this year, the mayor of Anchorage has already proclaimed Food Day. So we're really excited about that, and we're hoping to get the word out about events happening in Anchorage and hopefully rally behind this exciting proclamation. All right, and that's all that I have. So now I'm going to turn it over to our first presenters, Ali and Azara.
Okay, so I think that we're going to, Azara and I are going to split this. I'm going to be talking about what we did last year, and Azara's going to be talking about what we plan on doing this coming year. So we are both employees of the University of Alaska Fairbanks, but we initiated Food Day under our role as students. I'm a graduate student, and Azara actually graduated this past semester with her BA. And the two of us, as well as 4 other students, represent the Chancellor Student Food Committee. So this is our presentation. So a little bit about us. The Chancellor Student Food Committee, we are 100% student organized, and we were appointed by the Chancellor of the University of Alaska Fairbanks after Azara had gone to him with some of our concerns about the lack of local food on campus and just the lack of choice. Granted, this is one of the drawbacks that we have in Alaska, particularly in Fairbanks, because we are in the interior. But our overall goal is to increase food education and give students on campus greater accessibility to Alaska's resources, and through those efforts, increase the Fairbanks economy. So, Food Day 2013. So to our knowledge, this was the first student organized food day at UAF. We had staff members do it the prior years, and we decided that the Food Day event fell within our banner as a student club, so we asked if we could please organize it, and of course they were like, of course you may. So our first and primary goal was making connections between individuals passionate about food on campus, and this included students, but we also wanted to reach out with faculty and staff as they have a bit more staying power, and having a good network within the actual employees will promote the cause after Azar and I move on. And we like to refer to these people as local food champions. So here's an example of what our flyer was like for Food Day, as well as our delightful logo. So our overarching schedule was we had tables in what's called the Wood Center, which is kind of like our student union building on campus. So we invited university-affiliated food groups to table from 10 to 2. We were hoping to have some local CSAs and others present, but we ran into issues with vendor issues, and we're hoping to do that this year. Mm-hmm. Then our first actual event per se was from 11 to 12, and that was a food preservation seminar by one of our local postdocs. She's now, I believe, an actual tenure track faculty. Both herself and her husband presented how they preserve mushrooms and some of the other local resources found here in the interior. Then we had lightning talks from 12 to 1, so over the lunch hour. These were a series of 5-minute lectures given by 4 individuals, 3 of whom were CSFC students and then a faculty member. So everyone got 5 minutes. We presented on our topic of choice, and then we had a question and answer forum afterwards. Then from 1 to 2, we had a farm to school recipes demo by a representative of the Community and Technical College Culinary Club, and she and an assistant actually created some of the recipes that have they are trying to integrate into the Fairbanks North Starborough School District. And I think that the one that she presented was cauliflower, like puree, and having this in a corn chowder with some halibut. So it's a very local Alaskan thing, and it's relatively easy to do and can be done with local ingredients.
And tested really well among parents and children.
Yeah, getting kids to eat was a hard thing. So, and then from 2 to 3, we had a presentation by Dan White, who's actually the Associate Vice Chancellor for Research, the Director of the Office of Intellectual Property and Commercialization, as well as the Director of the Institute of Northern Engineering. So he kind of hits every administrative category we could have ever hoped to access. And he presented on his personal research as to some of the drinking water challenges faced in rural Alaska. And, not necessarily hard food, per se, but it falls very much within the umbrella of Alaska food challenges. So here's a photo of Danielle actually doing her demo. So this was a very grassroots, organic movement. We didn't really have a means of getting local food.
We had no funding.
That's the gist of it. So the CTC, the Community Technical College, Culinary Arts and Hospitality Campus Club actually donated muffins for us, which was great. They baked it in their kitchens. And then everything else was donated by us students. So here's some examples of very Alaskan foods. And chaga, I think I pronounced that right, yeah. Tea. The chaga is actually a mushroom. And so our food preservation specialist took these mushrooms, preserved them, and then infused them in boiling water. So it was quite tasty. And the barley was local goods from
the Wrigley Family Farm,
yeah,
I believe, in Delta.
And we actually had the Wrigley family come and speak at a 2-day seminar hosted that we had
last semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we're kind of making ends with the community. So here's a photo of one of our tables. So the exposure, we were kind of a novelty because it's student organized, so that was in our favor. So we had a featured piece in the Sunday edition of the Fairbanks News Miner, which is our local paper. Of course, we made it into our own campus newsletter, which would be really bad if we didn't even finish that. And then as a result of our efforts, the Chancellor's Office supported travel for Ozara to attend the 8th Annual Circumpolar Agricultural Conference in, where was that?
Girdwood,
Girdwood.
Alaska.
So, you know, she could go down and spread the message. So.
Well, so that kind of concludes an overview of our 2013 Food Day efforts. In 2014, we'll actually have some funding, which we're very excited about, through the Office of Sustainability here at UAF. So we plan to feed a lot more people, first of all, and highlight the Alaskan foods and the kind of dishes that you can make using locally sourced products. We like to focus on local foods rather than, say, you know, organic or humane or ecologically sound and stable because of our place in the Arctic. We want to try to increase food security here and combat the misconception that food is just not possible to grow here. And so by providing a very nice, tasty, and appealing spread of locally sourced foods, I think we do a good job of demonstrating that it is possible here in the interior of Alaska. We also plan to continue doing the tabling, but as Ali was saying, we ran into some issues with contracts of outside vendors. We have been working with the contracts manager here at UAF and will actually be providing verbiage for the request for proposals for the new food vendor and hopefully try to mitigate some of the challenges that arise when we do try to bring in, say, a CSA from outside the university. And one of the newer things that we would like to do is send a call to all of the students living on campus who are required to purchase a meal plan because they are really our target audience. And we would like them to come and share in some structured form their experiences and their perceptions about the food that they receive at UAF, because we have done 2 years worth of surveys about their perceptions and consumption habits, and we found out some very interesting things. And we would just like to get a little time to speak with them face to face about the results of those surveys. And then we would also like to continue the lightning talks, those under 5-minute talks. They seemed very effective. We would like to we plan to invite the Resilience and Adaptation Program here at UAF. Their faculty and graduate students deal a lot with food issues in Alaska and the rural communities in particular. So we would like to use that as our sort of academic focus, because we do like to try to keep it somewhat academic rather than just, you know, a celebration of food, though I think we take care of that in the feasting. Am I forgetting anything, Ali?
I think that's pretty much it. Education, anything that we're doing on that front?
I think that our academic focus, yeah, is going to be mainly lectures, but we will also have lots of handouts. We tried doing movies last year, and it just was not as effective as we'd hoped, so we decided not to do that this year. But yeah, we're interested in hearing what everyone else has planned and maybe getting some inspiration from you guys.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Now we're going to hear from Sienna. We can talk a little bit more about the work that she did last year. Thanks, guys.
Hi, everyone. This is Sienna. I am a clinical dietitian at St. Elias Hospital, which is a long-term acute care center in Anchorage, Alaska. And I'm just going to share my past experiences with Food Day. This will be my 4th year doing a Food Day celebration, and I'm really excited to share some of the things that have worked for me. So the first area that I focused on was my workplace. When I first found out about Food Day in 2011, I thought, what a better place than to share it with my coworkers. It's a great way to get everyone involved because you're with these people every day, all day, for the majority of your day. And what a better way than to share what you're passionate about with the people you work with. It also is a great way to spark some conversation and get the debate going. Food, as most people know, is pretty personal. Just ask anyone about their beliefs on the paleo diet versus the vegan diet, or any of those kinds of diets. It's always going to spark a conversation, which is what you want. You want to get people talking, and that is how you start to give them some new ideas about eating local and eating real foods. It also puts you in a position to lead by example. Even after Food Day has passed, my coworkers still come up to me and ask for, advice or asking questions, and it just puts you in that position of being a leader for your coworkers and your workplace. It's also pretty darn convenient. You're there anyway. You might as well celebrate all day long. It's only one day out of the whole year, so I really loved being able to share it with my workplace. So some of the things that I have done at work, the best one, which is what I put up top, is hosting and providing a special meal or a snack for your coworkers and at your workplace. It was my goal to use as many Alaskan-grown or local products as possible, and I definitely wanted them to be whole foods, natural foods, healthy foods, sustainable foods, and this also opened up a really good avenue to talk with the food service director. So it forces you to make those connections, which is also always positive. We wound up making a stir fry, and we pulled in Alaska-grown carrots, Alaska-grown cabbage. We also used brown rice, which for some of my coworkers, it was the first time they've ever tried some of these foods. So it was a really healthy, good meal that also tasted good. So it shows people that it can be done. You can eat healthily and locally, but it can still taste good. I also had on display a lot of educational materials, and if you haven't been to the Food Day website yet, I definitely recommend going today. It is such an amazing resource. I used a lot of their one-pagers. I used a lot of their handouts. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Use their materials, and it'll help you get along the way with your events. Also, you need to be available to answer questions. You need to make yourself available that whole day, which is also, hopefully can work with your schedule, but it makes people want to come up and talk to you and ask you questions, and it just keeps that conversation going. You wind up being an advocate for change for your coworkers. It might not affect everyone, but you might affect 2 or 3 people in your workplace, and that's more than the day before, so that's always a positive. It really helped me when I got some support from the management and administration at my hospital. Once I did that, they actually made the special lunch a free lunch. So I got my attendance for the event just skyrocketed, just with that word free on it. So if you can get your management or your administration involved and get their support behind you, it really helps to make your event even more of a success. One of the people in our administration also has ties to the local government, and she actually called her ties, and we got the mayor to proclaim Food Day as an official day in Anchorage for 2011. So you never know who knows who, and it's always good to get the support of the people around you. I also wanted to include and involve our patients and the guests, the people that come and visit our patients. I didn't want it just to be for staff, and so we actually provided this special meal as an option for all of our patients that were able to eat it as well. And on their trays, they each got a little educational handout, so they felt like they were a part of the celebration too. So involve as many people as you can. The more support, the more excitement, the more people talking about it, the better. I made sure to advertise with the months leading up to Food Day. Since Food Day is at the end of the month, I started the first week of October, and I sent out emails, just short little emails to all employees every Monday, and it had some healthy recipes, it had some tip sheets. It just started to get people asking me questions, like, what is this Food Day? It started that conversation, and then it all culminated on the 24th, which was really exciting. Another really simple thing to do and a great thing to do at work is to run a food drive. All you need is a box and a sign explaining what the food drive is for and why you're running it. It's a great way to give back to the community and help to provide healthy foods for the people in need. Another thing that I have done in the past is do a celebration at your home. This is a great way to spread the word to the people you love the most, whether it's your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, your family. Getting them involved with something that you feel so passionate about just seems like the natural step for me. It's the most fun. You can entertain. You're at your house. It's also very convenient. It also opens up those doors and opens up that communication for positive change with some of your favorite people in the world. So that's really exciting. Again, once you get that conversation started, sometimes all it takes is one more conversation or one more shared meal, and that's all it takes to have someone close to you make a positive change and choose local foods as well. One of my favorite things to do is just to have people over to share a meal, whether it's a snack, lunch, dinner, whatever it might be, a potluck. You don't have to even prepare all of the food. You can do a potluck. But just gathering everyone together and preparing a healthy, wholesome meal using as many local ingredients as possible. Some of the foods we used were local fish that my husband had caught, so can't get any more fresh than that. We used local veggies. We just tried to make it as healthy and wholesome as possible. I did use some of the recipes provided by Food Day. They already have recipes and recipe cards available for you, so again, no need to reinvent the wheel. We used the conversation starters on the Food Day website. I used them as place cards at the table, and that was a great way to get the conversation moving in the direction of healthy foods. One thing that I also did that was a really fun activity was hosting a cooking class and doing a cooking demo. I chose really simple recipes that didn't need a lot of prep time, but it really got people involved. They wanted to get their hands down and dirty and do the cooking and cutting and preparing too. And then after you're done cooking, you can share that meal together. So that's a really fun and easy way to get everyone involved. The last thing I did this past year was show a meal comparison ingredient-wise and nutrition-wise of real foods versus processed foods. So for a dinner meal, I showed the difference in ingredients between a McDonald's hamburger with french fries and a milkshake versus a homemade hamburger with roasted potatoes and a glass of milk instead. And that really hit home with a lot of the participants because they saw this lengthy list of ingredients they could not even pronounce versus the real foods that they knew what was going in their body. So that really hit home for people as well. The last event idea that really worked for me this past year was involving children. One of the pushes from Food Day was to get kids cooking in the kitchen. And as a new mom, I really wanted to focus on that part of Food Day. I really believe that making the positive changes really start with those little ones. And then they bring it home and they tell their parents, and that's how we can make a big change. It's definitely never too early to start teaching healthy nutrition and getting the kids in the kitchen. You're also, at the same time of providing a fun activity for kids, you're also providing support for the other parents by sharing ideas of what works and what doesn't work. So it's definitely a win-win situation. These pictures are just some of the foods that I provided for the kids during our kids class. The green liquid is a green smoothie that I like to call the Hulk smoothie that the kids just loved, and it was really simple to make, and they loved to hear the blender going and watch it turn the Hulk green. And the other picture is just apples with a nut butter that was homemade in the food processor. So one of the best things that I did with the kids was do a cooking demo and then let the kids get down and dirty in the kitchen too. What we did was we made a nut and seed ball which had dried fruits and nuts and seeds all put in the food processor. So I had everything already measured out and the kids got to put it into the machine. And they loved to watch the machine get turned on because it whips and it's noisy and it makes a mess. So it was really fun for them. Then they got to roll the cookie dough into balls for their cookies. So each kid got to make their own cookies, which was really cool. And these kids were very young, from 9 months to 3 years old, and they could still be involved, which was really exciting. It definitely is never too young to get the kids involved. While this was going on, the parents and I were having a really great conversation about serving healthy foods for our kids, getting them in the kitchen, what works for them, what doesn't work. So just creating that support network was really good, and we've kept in touch, which is exciting too. Another game that I have on here that we've played was something called Fear Factor, and it's something that's really well received by kids. It sounds scarier than it is. All you do is you put a different fruit or vegetable in a brown paper bag, and you blindfold the kids and have them put their hands in the bag and try to guess what it is. If the kids are really young, you don't even need to use the blindfold in the bag. It might be enough just to hold the food, smell it, touch it, feel it, use all of their senses. Later on, it's even good to taste it if you can do that too. So we used simple ones like bananas and apples, oranges and avocados, broccoli, and it's really fun for the kids to choose something hands-on. The last tip I have is to incorporate movement. Kids do the best when they're not sitting still. So whether that means playing outside or doing a scheduled game, it doesn't have to be anything intense. It could be tag while the parents discuss and create a support network. But just getting the kids moving helps to keep them occupied and active. My plans for 2014 include a home dinner party with friends and family, because that's something that has been well received every year I've done it. So I will definitely continue doing that. The plan for work this year is to do a smoothie day. I was just at Pyra's U-Pick Farm in Palmer, Alaska just 2 weeks ago, and I was so overwhelmed by the beautiful greens, the kale and the lettuces and the spinach. So I definitely want to use some of their greens to make some smoothies at work. That will be a fun day to celebrate Food Day and eating healthy, but also eating locally. And to support the kids, I want to do another mom support group to help discuss feeding our littlest ones and feeding our families the best foods we can. So I'm curious to hear what everyone else's plans for Food Day are for 2014, and I'm always available to discuss or brainstorm. My email address is right here. Feel free to copy it down, and I'd love to hear what some of your ideas are.
All right, thanks, Deanna. That's perfect, because now we're going to move into a little question discussion portion of the webinar. So I'd love to hear from everybody who's been listening on the webinar. Introduce yourselves, say where you work, where you're from, and hopefully we can help connect people to others in the area. Just for the time to, if you hit the raise hand button, then we can unmute your microphone, and then you can ask your question. You can also type in your questions too if you don't have a microphone on your computer. If you type in your question to the question box, we can read it out loud for you. All right, I'm not seeing anybody right now. So I do also want to say we did get an email this morning from someone at the Alaska Food Policy Council. And they're looking to do a town hall event in Anchorage. And so they had asked me if I knew of any spaces that they could use for the town hall or any sponsors for the event. So as well, if anybody knows of a space in Anchorage or other sponsors in the area who might be interested in helping them out, definitely reach out by email, or I'd love to hear about it so I can pass on the word and then help them out. All right, we have one question here. Is anyone else from Sitka on the line? All right, you're unmuted if you want to ask your question, Keith. Hello, Keith, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Keith, are you there? I heard you for a second.
It seems to mute and unmute on its own. Yes, I'm with the Sitka Food Co-op. Yes, my name is Keith Nitre. I'm with the Sitka Food Co-op. And I was, of course, wondering if anyone else was from Sitka was online. especially someone from, we have a new group called the Sitka Kitsch group, which is teaching classes about food.
Great. Well, if anyone here is on the line from Sitka, I'm glad to hear from you as well. We can also...
Not sure if this is working.
Oh, yep, we can hear you fine. Oh, yeah. Yep, do you want, we can get in contact with you too and find some local contacts in Sitka that you could talk to and bounce some ideas around if you wanted to collaborate on a food day event.
No, actually, I have all the contacts I need. I was just checking to see if any of them were attending this webinar.
Keith, it doesn't look like anyone's raising their hand for volunteer that they're from Sitka on the webinar, but certainly we'll send around a recording and slides, and maybe somebody will get in touch via email.
Thank you.
All right, great. Does anybody else have a question that they want to ask while we are on the webinar?
Is it all right if I ask the question? This is Azara.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, we hope to have some discussion, so anyone that's interested in sharing thoughts.
Yeah, well, I did go to the Real Food Challenge National Summit a few years ago, and one of the suggestions that they gave to me was trying to push for something akin to a Meatless Monday, or something meatless for vegetarian students particularly. My gut reaction was that was just not going to fly in Alaskan culture, and that supporting, people who have traditional ways of obtaining food was important in Alaska. But I was wondering what Sienna's, what kind of reaction she was getting in Anchorage, do you advocate for less meat in a diet, or how do you manage that?
That is so interesting that you brought that up, because we just started doing Meatless Mondays here at work about a month and a half ago. So for the past month and a half, every Monday we have done a meatless option at lunch. In the beginning, the first couple weeks, we did have a lot of negative feedback. There's always going to be a couple that give you good feedback, thank goodness for them, but we had quite a lot of people that weren't happy about it. Now that we're in like our 6th or 7th week, people actually are starting to look forward to it. What helped the most was that we put out surveys and feedback, so we could get feedback from why didn't you like it, what would you like instead, and we really used that feedback to help make those meals. As a dietitian, I definitely advocate for, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but the healthiest foods possible. If all you have available is what you have hunted or caught, that is the most local you can get. So I would never advocate to not eat those foods. But I definitely think it is healthy for everyone to incorporate other foods besides meat into their diet, because that automatically opens up more room for fruits and more room for vegetables and more room for whole grains. So if it were just one meal a week, I think that is fine. I think that is wonderful for everyone to do just one meal a week. You're not trying to force anyone to be vegetarian all the time. It's just one day a week or one meal a week. So taking those small changes really helps to introduce some new food groups into people's regular meals that they might have not ever tried before. So I think it's a wonderful idea.
That's a good point. I thought it would also be a good argument here at UAF because of the cost of meat. So I've really been struggling with this idea, but at UAF, one of the major challenges is the cost of food and the discrepancy between the growing season and the season in which they're feeding students. Yeah, so I don't know. I think maybe we'll try to float that idea when we have the open forum for students that we're going to invite them to at Food Day and see what they think about having or advocating for a Meatless Monday.
I think it's a great idea. And just be ready for some people that will be really strongly against it. But I just remind them every week, it's only one meal. You can always bring your own if you're really, you know, if you really don't want to eat what we have.
Yeah, well, that's not really possible here. But we have an interesting group because we have a group of consumers that are required to consume this food. They're required to purchase a meal plan through the university if they live on the university campus. And so, yeah, they don't really have the option of, you know, bringing their own food. This is the food that they've paid very good money, like quite a bit of money, to be eating every day. And it's kind of unfortunate from our surveys. We've learned that there's not a lot of satisfaction, and we think that's probably based on like transparency. There needs to be a little bit more communication between students and dining services, but we're working on it.
You can always just have a meatless option as well, or just start with one meal instead of the whole day, and that might help to get people used to the idea.
Yeah, actually what we really wanted to do was have, I'm sorry?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I just had a thought too, but I will wait till after you're finished talking.
Oh, well, I was just saying the one meal, one day a week is a really good idea, and we've had dining services commit at least verbally to doing one meal, one day a week that's mostly local. We haven't really had a lot of success in the follow-through, but yeah, just starting small. I think that's a really good idea.
And this is Emily at Food Day, and I was just going to echo what Sienna said. I think, you know, starting small and maybe using Food Day as a day to launch the idea and try it either once during the week of Food Day or every Monday during the month of October, and then taking it from there might be a, you know, a way to start, and potentially having some education, either via something that students can take home with them or some signage around to, you know, show the benefits and why this is happening, rather than just having it be something that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe having the students actually do their own pros and cons list, something like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anybody else that wanted to ask a question? Remember, you can type them in the question box and we can read them out for you, or if you raise your hand, we can call on you, introduce yourself. All right, Jennifer, I see that you've raised your hand, and I have a microphone.
Hi, this is Jennifer Johnson. I'm in Juneau. And
Hey, yes, we can hear you.
I work for family nutrition programs, and so we don't have any food service segment like Sienna and the people at UAF. We are more, I'm looking for something that we could do with WIC. And I don't know, CS, if you guys, Emma, and have ideas about things other WICs might be doing in other parts of the state. I mean, so WIC is women and infants and children up to the age of 5. And they do get vouchers that they take to the store to buy food, but we don't serve any food there. But I would still love to do something statewide because there's WIC offices statewide.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Are the WIC, are they redeemable at your, or do you have a farmer's market? That would be a great location to have an event if it were available.
I wonder, definitely at WIC you can redeem, you get a cash value voucher for fruits and vegetables every month. You can redeem it at the store, or you can redeem it at the farmer's market if your community has a farmer's market. And then if your community has a farmer's market, you also get, each member of your family who's enrolled on WIC gets checks, vouchers, cash value vouchers to use at the farmer's market. But when are the farmer's markets over? There are quite a few places in Alaska that have farmer's markets, not Juneau, but other smaller communities do have them. But I think are they over by then? Or? I'm not sure.
They may be winding down if they're not over.
Yeah, but that is a good idea.
Jennifer, thank you for that question, and thanks for chiming in with the idea about the farmers market. Also, this is Emily at Food Day, and we have the National WIC Association is a partner organization of Food Day, and we have that they have prepared for us to send out to folks a list of ways that WIC agencies and clinics can get involved in Food Day and some ideas about what they might do. And we can certainly send that over to you via email so that you can have some more ideas and see what others have done in the past.
That would be great.
All right, great. Is there anyone else got a question that they wanted to ask? Keith, I know that you had introduced yourself. Did you have any plans for Food Day that you were thinking about, you wanted to share about the ideas also for?
I'd have to
All right. Well,
say that we're still formulating, but here are about 4 different groups that are working on food security issues. And I've corresponded with them, but at this point we'll probably hold at least 1 or 2 classes on that day teaching about preserving local foods. Not sure what else. I have to coordinate.
great. Well, it's good to hear that you guys are thinking and brainstorming, and I think classes on preserving local foods is a great start too. All right, Jennifer, I see your hand raised, and we're going to unmute your microphone now, so you should be online.
Is there going to be a working
Jennifer?
group maybe where we can have each other's contact information, the people who are on the call?
Jennifer, we're having a little hard time hearing you.
Sorry, is there, are we all going to be, are you going to be sending out a list of maybe everyone who's on the call so we could work together or in some way be in touch and know what everybody's doing other than this call? This meeting was very nice and very helpful. Thanks.
Yes, we will be sending out contact information to the presenters today, but we won't be sending out information for everyone who's on the call. If you'd like to get in contact with someone who's spoken on the call today, feel free to email us at the office, and we'd be happy to make connections via email between the speakers and participants in the webinar. But at this time, we're not sending out everyone's contact information just because we haven't asked if that's all right beforehand.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here today. I think it's been a really productive meeting, and I'm glad to hear about all the events that are being planned in Alaska. If you guys have any more questions or you're looking for resources and you don't know where to find them on the website, definitely email us or give us a call at the office. We'd be glad to give you some more ideas, help connect you with other people across the state, and find more resources to help you guys put on your event and make sure that they're successful. So, thank you to our presenters for being here today. It was great to hear from you guys. And good luck to everyone as they begin planning for Food Day.
Thank you,
Thanks
Emma.
everyone for all that you're. Well, have a great day, everyone. We look forward to being in touch with you through October and beyond.
Thank you.